Because Candace addressed it again on her show last week, I'm going to address again this thing about Charlie possibly becoming a Catholic. The very first thing that I want to say, it's probably the most important thing, so I'm going to start with this and then go back to the beginning. However, I'm in Erika Kirk's Bible in 365 program. Obviously, not as many people are in that program as watch Candace. But so something a lot of people don't know is that her Bible in 365 program is anti-Catholic. And I don't mean that Catholics can't join, okay? I think it's wonderful for everyone to join. However, the program is run in conjunction with a Calvary Chapel pastor, Pastor James Candace, and every day it'll give you like 4 or 5 chapters to read. And then there's a little part underneath each reading where you can click for additional commentary, additional notes, and it takes you to a website called enduringword.com. Now, you have to sign up for Bible in 365. It's free, but you do have to sign up. Enduringword.com is just a public site. You can access it, look into it for yourself. What I've noticed in being in this program for the past 2 months or so is that a lot of the commentary, not like an overwhelming amount, but it's noticeable, is not only pro-Israel, but it's also anti-Catholic. And why am I telling you that? Well, I'm not telling you that to poke the bear between Catholics and Protestants and to get people fighting in my comments. I would prefer if you don't. Charlie wouldn't want us to do that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm telling you that because in my view, Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk loved each other. They seem like they really loved each other. And so I don't really see one of them becoming Catholic while the other has a Bible program that links to additional commentary that's anti-Catholic. Now, if you think Erika Kirk is not to be trusted, or maybe she actually even had a hand in this and is covering it up, then yeah, I could see how you would think maybe Erika Kirk remained Protestant while Charlie was becoming more and more interested in Catholicism. But I just don't really see that happening. I think that they would have been on the same page with this. And even if Erika Kirk herself were not going to become Catholic while Charlie was becoming Catholic, I think that out of respect for him, she would just like take this, not have this link on her Bible. And again, every single day, the readings link to this additional commentary, which is often anti-Catholic. Okay. And I think just merely out of respect for Charlie, Erika Kirk wouldn't do that. So I wanted to share that with you. Now, back to the beginning. I don't even want to be having this conversation. I think it's unfortunate that we're having this conversation, but Candace Owens started the conversation, okay? And every single time Candace Owens will talk about the Catholic thing and then double down, triple down. Last week, she tripled down because Erika Kirk mentioned that Charlie had a St. Michael pendant that she gave to him that he truly loved. And somehow that was like proof positive that Charlie Kirk is a Catholic. Candace said, "Are we done now, guys? Can we stop talking about it?" Well, no, we're not done now, because having a St. Michael pendant is not proof that you're a Catholic. I'll get to that in a moment. But she brought it up, okay? She brought it up for the first time a mere 5 days after Charlie Kirk was murdered on September 15th. And she has doubled down, tripled down many times since. And every time myself or someone like me responds to her claims, then I get comments of, "Oh, why do you hate Catholics? Why is it a big deal if Charlie was becoming Catholic?" I don't hate Catholics. I was raised Catholic. I've said numerous times I'm incredibly grateful for my Catholic upbringing, for going to Catholic school. I believe Catholics can be saved as Catholics. I do not hate Catholics at all. I'm no longer Catholic. I have the same theological issues with Catholicism that Charlie Kirk had and expressed many times, including in the months leading up to his death. But it's not about my own feelings on Catholicism, okay? It's about, first of all, what is the truth? Because you're being given little cherry-picked facts and you're not being given the full scope. And also it's about what is respectful for us to talk about. What is our job to talk about, and what should we leave to Erika Kirk to talk about if she wants to talk about it? Now, the first time I made a video on the Catholic thing, which is the video Candace saw that she responded to, my entire point was this should have been left up to the widow. Whether it's true that Charlie was thinking about converting to Catholicism or it's not true, it should have been left up to the widow. That was her place to speak on if she wanted to speak on it. That was my entire point. And Candace chose to speak on it 5 days after his death for the first time, also in a very disrespectful way. She said he was too smart to be Protestant.
Charlie was definitely on the brink of changing some of his perspectives. And I can tell you factually, Charlie was praying the rosary. Charlie was going to Mass. One of my last conversations with Charlie was me joking with him saying, just make the last step, okay? You are, I said specifically, you're too smart to be a Protestant. Just take the last step, Charlie.
That's disrespectful to Charlie's parents, who are by all accounts Protestant, to his wife, who's baptized Catholic, presumably as a minor, but by all accounts is Protestant. It's disrespectful to Charlie, who spent a great deal of his time Protestant. It's disrespectful to everyone 5 days after this brutal assassination. So not only is it not something we should really be talking about, but it's also like, how are you talking about it? So that's what I said in that video. Candace chose to respond with, you're going to regret that video because today I'm bringing receipts. There are no receipts that could change the point of that video. The point of that video was that this shouldn't have been brought up at all. This conversation should not have been broached at all because it's up to Erika. Just like it's up to the only person who really knows Charlie's mind in the last days regarding the Israel thing, that's Erika. No one else should really be claiming him and speaking for him. If she wants to speak on it, she can, she should, if she wants to. But if she doesn't, we should let it go because we don't know his mind the way that his wife does. The receipt that Candace referenced turned out to be a single vague text, allegedly from Charlie, dated February 2024, where he said, Catholicism is looking better and better. Now, whether or not he actually sent that text, okay, but from February 2024 to his untimely death in September 2025, he proceeded to lay out on numerous occasions all the theological issues that he had with Catholicism.
I love it. First of all, thank you for being a member. You've actually hit on one of my major concerns of Catholicism. But I have some big disagreements with Catholicism. And the first of which would be Mariology. Catholicism believes two things as dogma. And most Catholics, if you ask them this, some don't even know. Number one, do you believe that Mary was sinless? The Catholic Church does. There is no biblical basis for this. There's a second form of Catholic dogma that believes that Mary was assumed into heaven. It is not biblically supported at all whatsoever.
I believe that there are personally some fundamental issues with, like I say, Mariology, transubstantiation, which we're not going to get into. But the biggest one is the papacy.
I personally would not be able to enter into a faith that believes that anybody except Jesus Christ our Lord was without sin.
His wife continued to have a Bible study program that links to additional commentary that is oftentimes highly critical of the Catholic Church. John MacArthur died in July of this year. Charlie Kirk did a whole segment of his show that day on him and said that he has an entire portion of his library dedicated to John MacArthur Bible commentary. John MacArthur was famously anti-Catholic. He called it a heretical church.
Difference between the true gospel and the false gospel of Roman Catholicism. Roman Catholicism is heretical.
Charlie Kirk said the following about John MacArthur on July 15th, 2025, less than 2 months before Kirk was killed.
We lost a legend. John MacArthur is without a doubt one of the most influential Protestant minds since the Reformation. I would put him top 10. I have an entire part of my library wall just dedicated to John MacArthur's biblical commentary.
All of these things seem to indicate that Charlie Kirk was not, in fact, becoming Catholic. One of the last things he said on the day that he died was that he was an evangelical, because the question before, the question where he was murdered, was about Mormonism and why aren't you a Mormon? And what I want you to know, and you probably already know, okay, but in case you don't, every single time that Charlie was asked about Catholicism, Mormonism, whatever, what he always went to was what he always went to in debate generally, which is, where do we agree? Where can we find agreement? And especially when it came to faith, he believed that if you believed in the divinity of Jesus Christ and you repented and you followed him, he was going to see you in heaven. that it wasn't about Catholicism or Mormonism or this or that. If you and I both have Jesus, we will see each other in heaven.
Sure. That's fine.
If that's okay.
That's okay.
But you're Catholic, I'm Protestant, but I
Yeah.
think we can both agree we want every single person on this campus across the country to bring their life to Jesus. Can we both agree
Sure,
on
I
that? For sure. And you believe that
Yeah.
that is through the Catholic Church?
Correct, I do.
I do not believe that, but
I understand that.
I think there's great beauty in the Catholic
Sure.
Church. There is phenomenal truth in
Sure.
the Catholic Church. Personally, and I'll just end with this, I have difficulty with Mariology,
Okay.
the idea of the Vatican and the Pope, and finally, the Eucharist being transubstantiation. Those are my three main contentions.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend our time with that together.
That's all right. If I can just say, if you can, at the very least, just sort of study up on the soteriology and what I said, you can look
I
up.
will.
No,
It's fine.
That's not.
I
I'm not trying to insult
I
him,
love
that's not the
Catholics. My
point.
wife is
That's
a
not-
baptized Catholic, just so you know.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to get into all this rolling in the mud and infighting. And he certainly didn't want to, in his death, become a bone that Protestants and Catholics use to pick at each other. He would have wanted us to emphasize that we both believe in Jesus. And that's part of what I think is just so unfortunate about all of this. And so disrespectful. And this man cannot speak for himself any longer. But again, you are being given a couple of things here and there. Oh, a St. Michael pendant. Oh, a text from February 2024. Oh, allegedly he was going to Mass. And you're not being given the full picture, including the Bible study. Like I said, another thing, when Charlie Kirk would reference the fact that his wife was Catholic, he would say, my wife was baptized Catholic.
My wife is a baptized Catholic, just so you know.
Yeah.
Not my wife is Catholic. Now, I'm baptized Catholic. I'm no longer practicing. So I don't say I'm Catholic, right? I say I'm baptized Catholic if I refer to it at all. I don't say I'm Catholic because I don't identify as Catholic right now, okay? I'm not a practicing Catholic, but I was baptized as a minor. So that's another thing. Erika Kirk, in one of her speeches, said, go find a Bible-believing church. Again, that is something typically that Protestants say. Catholics typically say, go to Mass. Go find a priest. Go to a Catholic church. They don't say go find a Bible-believing church because they believe that the Catholic Church is the one true church, okay? So this phrase Bible-believing church is more of a Protestant thing. So again, there's all these little things. You're not being given the full picture. It's not about hate for Catholics, but it's about what is the truth and what is respectful.